Hey everyone, this is Rachel and welcome to another scrapbooking process video. If you hang out until after the video is through, there are always detailed shots of my current layout. Let's get going! Hey everyone, I've got something a little bit different for you today. I am joining in some lovely ladies on a YouTube hop. We are celebrating the start of a new series between two amazing YouTubers, Janet Fritz and Eileen Scrapmazing. These two ladies are starting a collab called Stretch the Sketch. And so basically the idea behind that is taking a regular 12 by 12 sketch that there are tons of out there and either stretching it to a double page layout or stretching your imagination by using it in a different format, whether it be a traveler's notebook, a 6 by 8 layout, a 9 by 12 layout, and the like. So I've been meaning to start a specific traveler's notebook. Now normally I use them either for mixed media or I use them to document a mini trip, like if I go on a long weekend type trip. So it's a little bit longer than a single layout will do, but it's not quite so massive a trip that I need an entire album dedicated to it. But I've been thinking on doing this type of an album for a long time, and finally with the onset of the popularity of traveler's notebooks, I think this is a good fit for it. So there are certain things in my life that I will watch or I will read or I will look at or I will do over and over again and enjoy it completely. And I'm going to start off with a movie I will watch over and over again, no matter what, and that is the movie Die Hard. So I just printed this out on my little HP sprocket, and here it is. And so it's a sticker-backed 2x3 photo. And I know some people have a problem with how the sprocket prints. I've found if you just majorly cool the photo down, so go into whatever photo editing program you use and cool it down, remove as much of the yellow as you can, and you can get a really decent print. I'm also going to be using the pink paisley Oh My Heart collection. I do have the 6x6 paper pad for that, the die cuts, and then I had already previously cut apart from the 6x6 paper pad the miniaturized versions of the cut apart sheets. Now I have also pulled out these chipboard stickers. I do not know if I'll actually use them. Normally when I work in a traveler's notebook, I like to keep things super flat. We will see if I use it or not. I think maybe one or two throughout the entire notebook isn't going to kill me, but we will see. All right, folks, I'm going to get you put on fast forward and get through this layout on my traveler's notebook for the Stretch the Sketch YouTube hop. Be sure to check out my description box and visit the other ladies who are putting up videos of their own today. All right, guys, let's get going. Okay, before we get going, I should probably mention this is the sketch we will be working with. It is by Shamel, and I am working in a Felicity Jane Traveler's Notebook, and that bulldog clip is from Heidi Swap. And if you hear any little noises, I apologize. My cat has decided to play with a little ball she has that she hasn't touched in 3 years, yet all of a sudden she needs to play with it right now. Alright, so I'm going to be using the 6x6 paper pad. I found these little squares that Paige Evans, I think she's kind of famous for. She's had them in, I think, almost every single one of her lines. I cut ahead to all of my squares being cut apart, and now what I'm going to do is trim them in half and make them into triangles. I finally realized, hello, it'd be easier to do it on your small trimmer rather than by hand, and I skip ahead once again because repetitive cutting is a little bit boring. And now I have my triangles for that portion of the sketch. Now I am going to have to go back and cut more because I decide to, well, you'll see, obviously. So I'm just trying to parse out the colors so that there's that bright orange and that red and the pink and the aqua and the light purple in each of the groupings of embellishment clusters. Now, with traveler's notebooks, I really much prefer to keep it as flat as possible. As I said, I did bring in those chipboard stickers, thinking I might use them. I don't actually use them in this layout, but I'm not adverse to completely never using them in here. But as I said, I like to keep it pretty flat just to make my life easier. So I have this scrap of the heart paper, and I'm going to go ahead and use that as my base layer. And I'm just showing you my sprocket photo is sticky backed. It can take a little bit of time to get that off. It took me a few seconds to finally get it, but it works. So I'm going to go ahead. I trimmed that heart pattern paper in half, and I glued one side on the left-hand side, and now I'm just giving it about a 1/16 of an inch of space between the right hand side and the left hand side, and that way I don't end up curling that paper there in the center. It stays slightly separated, but it doesn't really look that way in real life. It just gives it a chance to not brush up against each other. So I'm going ahead and starting my one row of triangles, and I haven't decided yet whether I want to keep it where it is or go all the way to the end of the page. I, in the end, make that decision to go to the end of the page, which is the reason I needed to end up cutting more triangles. So I'm going to do that right now and then skip ahead, and all my lovely triangles are cut, and I can continue my triangle placement all the way to the edge of my page in each of the 3 places. So this is a pretty simple layout. The thing that actually took the longest was searching for the right alpha, which I know sounds crazy, but for those of you who watch my channels, you know I am all about the alpha. I own way more than I would ever use, and so I am just, for me, titling is one of my favorite parts of scrapbooking, so I just was looking for the perfect portion of my alpha. All right, now I went through the die cut pack that I have for this, and I love this die cut journaling spot that says heck yes, but it is too big. So I'm looking through the 6x6 cut apart sheet, seeing if I can find something similar, and while it's not exactly the same, and it's not, I don't love it as much as I love the heck yes, it's definitely a better size. So, and I also like that it does have the black in it because I've got a lot of black in that poster. And then I decided, you know what? I like flowers. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do it. I am going to put flowers on a layout about Die Hard. It works for me. It kind of, I don't know, it really works for me. I know it seems silly, but I love the fact that I used a very feminine line to make this layout about this, really action-packed movie that is very male. So it just kind of made me like, what's the word I'm looking? Ironically giddy over using this particular line. All right, so here comes Rachel's circle of alphabets. My second word of the title, which is forever, was pretty simple. I used this older Scraptastic alpha, couldn't think of the word alpha, oy vey, that I had in my stash, and I consider several before I think, oh, I'll use this peachy colored one, but I realized halfway through the alpha, yeah, that's far too large. I'm thinking about other ones, but I really want to bring either some pink or some deep rose or some red over there, and I'm not finding anything that's the right shade. It's either too bright a pink, or I don't have the letters, or it's too light a pink. When finally I remember that I have a bunch of the October Afternoon Daily Flash alphas, and on the back of them are tiled alphas, and I find this rose-colored one on a cream background, and that will make my layout what I want. So my title is Nakatomi Forever. If you've never seen Die Hard, first of all, what's wrong with you? Second, and that's a joke. Second of all, Nakatomi Tower is where the whole scene setting of the movie is. So I'm going to finish off with some Shimmer's Mists. I'm going to be using Velveteen Green, and that's, Even though it's a green and you'd think with the velveteen green, you'd think it's very Christmassy, in actuality, it's almost like a jade green, so it really does go quite well with the spring green color in this line. And then I'm going to use Pink Moscato, which is one of the newer shimmers. It's not like brand new, but it was released, I want to say within the last year. And that is going to be the last thing I do for this layout. Thank you so much for joining me here today. If you could flick me a thumbs up, that would be super awesome. All right, folks, don't forget to look in the description box below and follow all the wonderful ladies on this YouTube hop. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.